All right, dear friends, we are going to check out some awesome footage from third phase of the moon. This is the first time I'm seeing it, so we're seeing it together in live. Okay, wow, this is mind blowing. As you could tell, this is spinning extremely fast. I don't think I've ever seen any of these crafts rotate this fast. However, it is commonly seen that way. I don't know why they even have to rotate. The only time I ever saw something that looked like that in a mass sighting, it was actually wobbling and rotating kind of slow. Okay, what do we got on this one? It always fascinates me when they go into the sky. Now, it obviously, look, it flying across just stops, which obviously right there is enough to like say, holy crap, I think we better be. I'm glad someone's filming this. I'm curious as to what they were thinking while they were filming this, but are they going into the atmosphere to test things and go into space? They're not going home, I'll tell you that much, because if they are going home, they could just maybe this is their home. Maybe all they have to do is go back into the water or into a mountain or cross into another dimension. So it's very curious where they're going. Assuming we're talking about ETs, this very well could be a UAP, an ARV, an alien reproduction vehicle, which is something we could have created using their technology. Now, there's some breaking news I don't think you guys have seen. I probably should have shown you this tweet right off the bat. This guy named Jerry from NASA has come out to say, we have this technology, we have these off-world craft that we recovered. However, we cannot create them with with our current technology because it also requires the ability to create these in zero gravity. Yes, this came from an official person, Jerry from NASA. So that's why the ARV argument, I think, is not as valid as people say it is. I know Greer says we've had this. I'm kind of on the fence. I know we have amazing technology. We've definitely made inroads in what we've received and what we've studied for decades. However, I am not convinced we can create transmedium crafts that can go into the ocean, into the sky, and into space, traverse beyond the speed of light through a traversable wormhole, through an Alcubierre warp bubble, which is the bubble that surrounds the craft in gravity, which is why when you saw that Turkey UFO footage, you could actually see the aliens inside moving much faster than what we see on the outside. This does not look like the magic, the large, magically huge skyscraper size UFO. This looks like the one we sort of just saw, obviously over a city. Look how tremendously fast it's going since it is covering that distance. Clearly, in the audio, there is no sonic boom. I know you guys can't hear the audio, but this is fairly quiet from what I understand. Uh, this isn't China, no. I mean, it looked like it from a moment, but I've never been there. I know people who have, but I'm not those people, so I'm not even going to comment on where this is. But I'd like to know. I guess I could find out if you guys are interested. Look at that. I mean, again, the amazing thing with these is when they're just completely just floating or hovering, and then boom, they just take off. Now this one, look at that. The G forces on that, had anybody been on board, would be splattered against the wall. Every bone would be broken. I mean, they would be dead. Yes, I've seen things go a lot faster, but look at that. From zero to just boom, there is almost zero acceleration. It goes from zero to the maximum speed and then seems to even slow down a bit. That's what actually makes this really, really interesting. I'd say this is probably the better capture so far, except for that very first one that was brief. Maybe it'll come back. That one that was rotating very fast and seemed very large, by the way. Okay, let's see what we got coming up next as this continues to be said. Now, remember, people, check out that thing, what I said, Jerry from NASA. You will see not only did he post what I said, but he posted a few diagrams and a few things explaining some of the science. I could explain some of it myself, but most of it, since I'm not a scientist, I'm a lawyer and a journalist and a ufologist, is out of my, should we say, out of my brain. It's knowledge I do not have. Okay, this is the first one that I was hoping it'd come back to. Look at this. Obviously, it is also going extremely fast from right to left. That's why the person is clearly zoomed in, and things seem to be in the front as this UFO is zipping from right to left. Wow, this has got to be huge. See, I wish there was a point of reference. If there was a building nearby, anything, I would be able to maybe estimate, is this 100 feet wide, 1,000 feet wide? What's curious is, what is that light at the brim where the rotating lights are? Again, like I said, that is not very common. I mean, it is not very uncommon. It's actually more common than not when you see a flying saucer. It actually, is rotating most times. The interesting thing is, underneath in the middle, you do see another light, which, as you know, many people who are abducted say that is where they're usually taken into, not from the side, not from a door that opens up, say where that light is, for instance. I'm really interested on that light. Is this craft releasing a drone? Now, let me say one more thing about this craft. This is one of the few UFOs that are, if this was ET, would be one of the ones that has pilots, meaning alien beings are on board. There is a great UFO chart which has all the uh, breakdowns of the different shapes. And that video I did back in March 2024, when I recovered, the person who recovered these crashed UFOs, that was in quote the program unquote, talked about which of the craft that he had seen were piloted, and he made the point is, why do some need crew and why do others not? My argument is probably the ones that have crew are the guys that are doing the abductions. The ones that don't have crew are probably, transporting stuff, or more likely just taking tests of soil and other stuff, water, or just maybe moving. And again, they're like drones. Again, I'd love to hear if any of you are contactees, abductees, and have ever seen something like this. I mean, this type of UFO where it's spinning this fast and had seen this sort of light. Is it attached in your opinion? I'd like to know what you guys think. I think the way I keep looking at it, you see that light doesn't stay on the ship. It's not always in the same position. To me, it really looks like it's floating next to. Okay, this is what I was hoping for. This is supposed to be the size of a skyscraper. You heard me right. This is in China, as you can see, a skyscraper. Now, some would argue, is this, how there's reflections sometimes of a city in the sky? The reason this can't be that is, if you see, it actually is moving. It's not just the camera operator being extremely shaky, which of course I'm assuming very excited. Now look at the amazing lights, and here's the best part about this. There's nothing aerodynamic about this. Very same thing I would argue about the new jellyfish UFOs, which are making the rounds for the last year and a half or two. uh Apparently, it doesn't matter what the hell the shape of these craft is, and I'll tell you why. Because they don't fly in any way that we do. They don't obey those laws of physics. They don't need lift. So if they are surrounded by a field of gravity, which is exactly how these things fly. So you have gravity generators, like Bob Lazar said, and sport model, they'd be on the bottom. The gravity goes out the bottom, circles the entire craft, and then goes back in the top like a torus. So the time dilation, what is going on in that bubble, is actually different than our time. And by being in that bubble, when it's in the water never touches the craft. It also can fly faster than the speed of light because it uses traversable wormholes, and therefore it doesn't matter the size or the shape. I mean, this is, if it's the skyscraper size, are we looking at a mothership that has, dozens of ships inside that are can be released at any time. Sort of like, is this the alien equivalent of an aircraft carrier? It very may very well be. Again, I want to hear everybody out there who has been in contact with ETs or abducted. Have you ever seen anything like this? Have you ever been in something like this? And everybody out there who has not been a contactee or an abductee, but just someone who sees stuff in the skies. Have you ever seen something like this? Now, I have seen things shaped like this before, but I can never say I saw something the shape of this large. And again, these lights are very interesting. I wish this would rotate more so we could see our lights going on all four sides. Considering the two of the four sides that we can see, we do see those lights. I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to see those two lines going down on one side and then the other, literally making the rounds of all four sides in sort of a loop. They go down the front side, then the right side, then the back side, then the left side, back to the front. That's what it looks like it's doing. Um, I don't think, of course, there's nothing we have in the entire world that can stay afloat at this size with no means of propulsion, no smoke coming out of it, no propellers, no jet engines, and be able to do what it's doing. I don't even know if we have anything that would be able, with propulsion, with blades, to make something of this size, because if we made it, it would be extremely heavy. And therefore, that would be even more difficult to get into the sky. Now, again, when I'm going back to the Alcubierre warp bubble. And if you want to hear more interesting conversation about that, go back to my Neil deGrasse Tyson interview, which was done in 2022. The first question I actually asked them is about the Alcubierre warp bubble, which is, like I said, the bubble surrounding the craft that encompasses it in a layer of gravity. So let's see what is upcoming after this one. I'm not going to fast forward it. I'm going to let you guys, suck it in as much as you can. Again, pay attention. There's no reference points. I really wish there was a lamppost, a house, anything to really show us how big it is. But you could see by the things that are flying by. Okay, what do we have here? Let's see. What is exactly? Whoa, I know what we're looking at. We're looking at what's underwater. This has been happening globally, folks, globally. Fishermen, cruise ships, military, they're all seeing this. Now, the secret's out of the secret's dead. Okay, the cat is out of the bag with UFOs. It went from the best kept secret for 100 years to now the worst kept secret. Why they're still holding things in is beyond me. Are these things just trying to make themselves known more? Because I don't think this is anything natural. Sure, there are things underwater that can cause natural light. Some, you know, animal life down there. Some fish are known to glow and look something like this. I am not saying that's what we're looking at all. I think this is probably a UAP underwater. I don't think this is a human water drone. It could be. It could be the guy behind the camera screwing with us, but I don't think. And why did it just disappear like that? Unless it blinked out. But no, if you see, it kind of goes a little to the right and boom, gone. It looks like it takes off like the way you see things hovering in the sky that just go 0 to 1,000 miles in a split second. Because again, even though nothing, if you shoot a gun underwater, it's not going to get very far, the bullet, because the water is so thick, the bullet will slow down. If you see in the John Wick movie, especially John Wick 3, when he's at the end shooting at the people in the Continental that are part of the high table, if you notice when he's shooting them in the water as they're shooting back at him, Keanu Reeves, Mr. Wick himself, backs up. Why? Because the bullets actually get slowed down and eventually just fall off into the ground. Okay, I believe this right here is actually just the trailer. So we are done with the UFO videos. I would have to say, in order of the best The first one I would have to say would be that giant one that we saw right off the bat. That was actually that round one before it got to again at the third video. That round one was great because we see a little bit of the reference points and it's a very familiar saucer. Then I would have to say is that massive skyscraper over, China. Then the third one I have to say is that blue water under lights, under the water. And then, of course, the other two that are just basically white lights that seem to be going from 0 to 500 miles or 1,000 miles or 500, 300 miles, whatever they may be. Now, finish watching this trailer. I know I'm not playing with audio. This is about to come out, I believe, December 12th on Amazon Prime. This is the continuation of the Disclosure series. It started with Battle for Disclosure, just all of the Disclosure series that the Cousins brothers are working on. The title is slightly eluding me. I don't want to say this one is not Endgame to Disclosure. I don't believe. I believe that one already came out. All of them have something to Disclosure. Okay, there we go. Battle for Disclosure. This is actually the fourth film, December 10th. So with that being done, we folks are caught up. So let me get that out of the way. And so I want you to leave in the comments what you thought of the today's videos. And again, if you want to support my work, I will gladly take a super thank you for making this video if you'd like to support me. And also, if you're not subscribed, please do so and make sure you have notifications. Why? Because when I do a live interview next, you can ask your live questions. Now, speaking about interviews, I just dropped some older interviews that people have not heard in a long time that I think it's crucial you guys check out, especially in light of about what I'm about to drop because of something that appeared on Netflix. I'm only going to say that until it comes out, but just pay attention to things that are going to be released in the next couple of weeks. Things are scheduled to come out on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday of this week, as well as two things that dropped last night. With that being said, this is Dr. J, host of Dr. J Radio Live. Keep your eyes to the sky, and I'll catch you on the dark side of the moon. That's it, folks. Have